Disbelief washed over me. My bank account was practically empty after our family get-together. My brother-in-law, Greg, just smirked. "Hey, we had needs," he muttered, leaning against the counter. My hands shook as I grabbed my backpack. "Then you won't mind what happens because of this." Their laughter echoed behind me, but then a sharp rap rattled the front door. It swung inward. "Seriously getting worked up over this?" Greg slouched there, soda in hand, that infuriating half-smile plastered on his face. "Chill out. We needed the cash more than you." I blinked, my finger frozen over the refresh icon on my Horizon Trust Bank app. I'd already tapped it 3 times. The balance stubbornly stayed at $621. That wasn't right. Just yesterday, I had over $1,750 in there. $1,750? What did you do? My voice trembled. Chloe, my sister, giggled from the sofa. She looked completely relaxed, feet tucked beneath her, sipping juice like it was just another Tuesday evening. "Oh, stop being so theatrical, Alex," she chirped. "It's not like we stole it. We're family. You cleaned out my account. It's not cleaning it out if we plan to pay it back," Greg added with an indifferent shrug. Eventually, my jaw dropped, but nothing came out. I looked desperately at Mom, busy with her cross-stitch across the room. She didn't even look up. "Mom," I pleaded, louder this time. "Did you know about this?" She sighed, the sound heavy with annoyance, like I'd just tracked mud on her clean floor. "Honey, you always overreact. You've got a good job with Innovate Solutions, no big mortgage, no kids. You live by yourself. You'll be fine. So that makes it okay to steal from me?" "Watch your tone, Alex," Dad mumbled, eyes glued to his tablet. I spun back to Chloe. "How did you even get my login?" "You left your details saved on the shared laptop," she stated, completely unapologetic. "Maybe be more careful next time instead of just logging in and wandering off. Honestly, this is kind of your fault." "My fault?" I bit back the words. My hands clenched into fists. My breathing felt tight in my chest. "You're blowing this way out of proportion," Greg insisted. "It wasn't for fun stuff. We covered rent, got groceries, basic survival things, you know?" "You didn't ask me." "We didn't figure we needed to," Chloe snapped back. "You've been covering little things for ages. What's the difference if the money comes through you or from you?" Slowly, deliberately, I picked up my backpack. The room was still. No one apologized. No one even looked guilty. "Leaving so soon?" Mom asked, finally looking up. "Yeah," I replied, zipping my jacket. "But don't worry. You'll be hearing from me." "Don't be difficult," Chloe rolled her eyes. "We needed it more than you." "That's just reality." My hand was on the doorknob. I paused. "Then you won't mind what's coming next." They laughed again, but outside, wheels were already in motion. "Hey, Alex, you all right?" It was my cousin Maya hurrying to catch up as I stormed toward my truck, fists tight, jaw locked. "No," I ground out, yanking the door open. "I heard what Chloe said back there," she added quietly. "That wasn't cool." I didn't answer. If I opened my mouth, I knew I'd yell. The infuriating thing? This wasn't new. For years, I'd been the responsible one, the one with the steady paycheck, the one who supposedly didn't need anything. And somehow, that turned me into the family ATM. It started small. Chloe couldn't cover her utility bill one month. I paid it. Then Greg got laid off and asked to borrow a bit to tide him over. Then there was a holiday present for their daughter, Lily, that I'd offered to chip in for, except I didn't offer. They just charged it and expected me to pay. Every single time they acted like I owed them. "You're fortunate, Alex," Mom would say, her tone soft but with a sharp edge underneath. "You don't face the same difficulties your sister does. God blessed you with stability so you could help others. Family takes care of each other," Dad repeated more times than I could count. "You wouldn't have what you have without us." The unspoken translation: "We brought you into this world, now fork over your salary." I never asked them for a dime. Not when I was out of work for 7 months, surviving on instant noodles and eggs. Not when I skipped vacations for 4 straight years to rebuild my savings. Not even when I helped pay off Chloe and Greg's store card debt 3 years ago. They never repaid me. They never even thanked me. "You still coming to the family get-together?" Chloe had asked last week. "Yeah," I'd said. "Need me to bring anything?" Her reply was instant. "Just yourself and your bank card." I laughed then, thinking it was a joke. Now I knew better. 3 days after the blow-up, Chloe called. I ignored it. She called again and again. Then Greg texted, "Just call her back, man. She's losing it." I finally answered on the 6th attempt. "Alex," she began, her voice quiet, shaky. "We've got an issue." "Oh, we do?" I replied coldly. Look, don't be like that. Something serious happened. I waited, saying nothing. She pushed on. Metro Power and Light showed up today. We're behind on the bill, like really behind. They said they'll cut the power if we don't pay by Tuesday. So? She trailed off. So we need your help again. I let out a short, harsh laugh. You emptied my savings account, and now you want more? It wasn't only for us, she retorted defensively. We used some to help Mom and Dad, too. Dad's car needed repairs last month, remember? Nobody told me. Because you always make a fuss if it's not a life or death emergency. Chloe, I stated flatly, this isn't just wrong. It's illegal. Stop being dramatic. It's family. You didn't ask my permission. We didn't think you'd care. You've always helped out. That's what you're there for, isn't it? That's what you're there for. There it was, the gut punch. That night, sleep wouldn't come. I tossed and turned, replaying every favor, every small bank transfer, every time Mom called me the strong one, every eye roll from Chloe if I paused before agreeing. They didn't see me as a brother, a son, a human being, just a walking resource. 4 days later, Mom called. We need to talk. No, how are you? No, how's work? Not even a question about the stolen money. We're having a family dinner, just the immediate family. Come over tonight. My stomach tightened. What's this actually about? Alex, she said, her voice low and serious, you've created a lot of friction. I created friction? Unbelievable. Still, I agreed to go. A small part of me hoped for an apology. The larger part just wanted to see if they'd even try to fake remorse. They didn't. When I arrived, Chloe was already there, arms crossed defensively. Greg sat next to her, looking utterly bored. Mom was banging dishes around in the kitchen. Dad flipped through junk mail as if nothing was wrong. Okay, Chloe began as soon as I sat down. Are we going to handle this like grown-ups or not? Depends, I countered. Are you ready to admit to grand larceny? She scoffed loudly. God, you're always so over the top. It wasn't larceny. It was family funds. You always pitch in. We were desperate. Greg nodded along. Yeah, you can afford it. So why all the hysterics? I never gave you permission. You didn't forbid it either. Because I didn't know you were doing it. Semantics, Chloe mumbled under her breath. I faced Mom directly. And you're okay with all of this? She avoided my gaze. Well, we all discussed it. You've always been the one who could manage. Nobody even considered asking me first. We trusted you, Dad interjected smoothly. Trusted you'd do the right thing. I pushed my chair back and stood up. And what's the right thing? Letting you rob me blind while pretending everything's fine? Stop using that word, Chloe yelled. It was for the family's benefit. Then the family won't mind dealing with the fallout together. What's that supposed to mean? Greg narrowed his eyes. I didn't answer. Not right then. When I walked into the house later that week, the tension was thick enough to taste. Mom was setting the table, the clatter of plates unnaturally loud. Dad was glued to the TV, flipping channels like it was any ordinary Wednesday night. Chloe stood stiffly by the window, arms locked across her chest. Greg sprawled at the table's end, looking like he expected entertainment, not accountability for draining someone's life savings. Well, look who decided to show, Chloe remarked sarcastically. I dropped my backpack by the door without responding. Let's just cut to the chase, I muttered. Great, Greg grinned. Maybe now we can quit pretending you got ripped off. I was ripped off. I took a seat. That was their cue. Mom cleared her throat nervously. Alex, honey, we understand you're upset, but you need to see our side. We were really struggling. There weren't any other options. Chloe and Greg were barely keeping their heads above water. Dad added solemnly. And you've always been so dependable. We just knew you'd come through. You didn't ask, I repeated, my voice ice cold. You took. That's not family helping family. That's theft. Chloe rolled her eyes dramatically. You're making such a big deal out of this. We didn't waste it on luxuries. It went where it was needed. No. I reached into my backpack, pulled out a printed document, and slapped it onto the table. $195 on cosmetics, $850 on food delivery, $2,100 toward your truck payment, Greg. Did you really think I wouldn't look into it? Greg leaned forward, his expression turning angry. You dug through our spending? Oh, I did much more than that. I opened my tablet. The screen glowed, showing a detailed, color-coded breakdown. Every charge, every transfer, completely traceable. I documented every single transaction. I submitted a fraud claim. And guess what? Horizon Trust Bank and the authorities got back to me. Chloe's eyes widened in horror. You wouldn't. I absolutely did. You called the cops, she shrieked. I turned to Mom. Still believe this is just a private family matter? This is crazy, Dad exploded. You'd send your own sister to jail? You sent yourself there. Right on cue came the knock. 3 solid, official-sounding raps on the door. Chloe turned ghostly white. Greg shot to his feet. Mom gasped and stumbled backward. Dad froze mid-motion. Open up, a firm voice commanded. Economic Fraud Division. Knock, knock, knock. Greg whirled on me, his voice a low hiss. Alex, tell me you didn't actually do this. I pulled the door open. 3 agents in official vests stepped inside. One held a folder, another a digital device. The third scanned the stunned faces in the room. Are you Alex Harper? Yes, I am. Thank you for your report and cooperation. We can handle it from here. Mom pressed a hand to her mouth. Chloe collapsed into a chair as if her legs had buckled. Greg just stood there, speechless. An agent turned toward them. You're listed as persons of interest in an ongoing investigation regarding financial fraud and identity theft. Identity theft? Mom wailed. He's our son. The agent's face remained impassive. Family relationships don't negate illegal actions, ma'am. We didn't steal anything, Chloe cried desperately. We were entitled. He always helped us out. Believing you deserve someone else's money doesn't make it legally yours, another agent stated calmly. Please remain seated. I stepped back, just watching. For the first time ever, they weren't interrupting me, weren't mocking me, weren't laughing at my expense. Mom turned to me, her voice trembling, tears welling up. Alex, please. We didn't want to hurt you. We were just so desperate. You've always been the reliable one. The only one we could turn to. I met her gaze squarely. You don't get to play the victim now. She covered her face and sobbed. Chloe opened her mouth, but no sound came out. Greg sank back into his chair under the agent's watchful eye. You want to talk about what family really means? I asked, stepping toward them. It means trust. It means respect. It means asking, not taking, not stealing. Not laughing while you financially bleed someone dry. Silence. I picked up my backpack from the floor and turned to the lead agent. I'll wait outside. And this time, nobody tried to stop me. I left the house without a sound. No one followed me. No one shouted my name. For once, there was no guilt trip, no dramatic outburst, no Chloe screaming her usual, "How could you do this?" Just the cool night air and the distant sound of car doors closing as the investigators led them away, one after another. I didn't stick around to watch. That night, I just drove, aimlessly passing dark coffee shops and brightly lit convenience stores, my phone vibrating constantly on the passenger seat. I didn't answer a single call. I had no interest in hearing apologies that sounded more like justifications. Around midnight, I found myself parked outside the one place that ever felt truly safe, my aunt's old cottage. She'd passed away a couple of years back, but I still had the spare key. She used to tell me, if they ever treat you wrong, Alex, you come here. This door will always be open for you. And that night it was. I slept for 11 solid hours. No demanding texts, no crushing guilt, no familiar tension squeezing my chest like it always did when I was near my family. When I finally woke, I made coffee in a chipped mug and stood by the window, watching the sunrise creep over the fence where she used to tend her garden. For the first time in what felt like forever, I could actually breathe. But the peace was short-lived. First email arrived that afternoon from Dad. This is unacceptable. You've embarrassed this entire family. What happened to loyalty? I deleted it without replying. Then Chloe texted, hope you're satisfied. They've frozen my accounts. Greg's job is investigating him. You destroyed our lives over a few bills. A few bills? Try tens of thousands of dollars. Try 6 years of quiet resentment. Then Mom left a voicemail, her voice soft and breaking. You didn't need to handle it like this. We could have worked it out as a family, Alex. Honey, please. They're talking about pressing charges. They mentioned we could lose the house. I replayed that phrase, lose the house. And suddenly the anger faded. The desire for revenge vanished. I just felt nothing. Because they had taken my sense of home from me years ago, the moment they decided I was more valuable as a bank account than as a son. 3 days went by. Then a message notification popped up from an unexpected source. Greg's brother. We barely knew each other. Maybe exchanged polite nods at holidays. But his text was brief. FYI, Chloe's trying to pin this on you. Telling people you knew about the money and approved it all. She's got legal representation involved. Be careful. I almost snorted. Even now, with everything falling apart, she was still trying to manipulate the narrative. That evening, I contacted my own legal representative. Send them everything, I instructed. We're moving forward with charges. And I want a restraining order too. But not all the messages were negative. A week later, an email arrived from Olivia, Greg's sister. Alex, I know we haven't really talked in years, but I wanted to say I think you did the right thing. About everything. How they treated you, how bad things had gotten. I used to think you were just being distant. Now I realize you were being strong. I read her words several times. Strong. No one in my family had ever called me that before. One morning my phone rang. An unknown number. I nearly declined it, but a gut feeling made me answer. Alex? The voice was small, strained. It's Chloe. I stayed silent. She continued, her words tumbling out. Look, I know I messed up, okay? Badly. I didn't expect it to blow up like this. Greg's been suspended from work. Mom cries constantly. Dad isn't speaking to me. And you, she faltered, you always held the cards to ruin us. And you finally played them. I waited a beat before responding flatly. I didn't ruin anything, Chloe. I just stopped letting you walk all over me. Silence hung in the air. Then desperately, can you just make it stop now? Drop everything. Please? I'll pay it back, I promise. Just call it off. I almost felt a twinge of something. Almost. But then I remembered her smug face at the get-together, her casual dismissal. We needed it more than you. A bitter smile touched my lips. No, I said firmly. You created this disaster. Now you get to live in it. And I ended the call. That night, I made myself a proper dinner, put on my favorite playlist from college, sat on the balcony with a warm mug of coffee, and just watched the city lights twinkle. And for the first time since I was a kid, nobody asked me for money. Nobody laid a guilt trip on me. Nobody implied my only value was in what I could provide. I wasn't their safety net anymore. I was just Alex, and that felt incredibly liberating. It's strange how peaceful quiet can be. Nobody prepares you for that. You expect liberation to feel like a party. Loud music, fireworks, a huge celebration. But for me, peace was the absence of neediness. No pleading calls, no accusations of selfishness. No lengthy texts starting with, since you're the only one doing okay, just silence. Wonderful, uninterrupted silence. 4 months have gone by since the night I finally detonated the situation. 4 months since the investigation kicked off. Since my family stared, stunned, as EFD agents walked into their home and reality shattered their years of entitlement. People say you can't pick your family. Maybe not. But you absolutely can choose how much of yourself you sacrifice to keep them afloat. I was done drowning with them. The consequences hit quickly. Chloe and Greg attempted damage control immediately. A lawyer contacted my legal representative, suggesting a private resolution. No apology, no admission of wrongdoing, just pure spin. I told my representative, let the process continue. A week later, an 8-page letter arrived from Mom, her handwriting familiar but shaky. She wrote about things getting out of control, how they never intended harm, hoping I could grasp the bigger picture. We just figured you'd always be there for us, she wrote. That's what responsible sons do. That sentence revealed everything. Not we messed up. Not you didn't deserve this treatment. Just you were supposed to endure it quietly and keep paying. I didn't reply. I didn't call. And for the first time, I felt no guilt about it. I relocated. New condo, new city. No more spontaneous drop-ins from relatives. No more surprise ambushes from Chloe. I got a new phone number too. My manager at Innovate Solutions, noticing my improved focus, offered me the lead on a new project. I accepted. It's amazing how much better your work performance gets when you're not secretly juggling your sister's loan payments and your mother's overdue bills. I sleep through the night now. I eat regular meals. I can breathe easier because I'm no longer carrying the weight of 4 adults who couldn't even muster a thank you. Then one morning, a plain envelope appeared in my mailbox. No return address. Inside was a money order for $1,500 and a handwritten note. I left him. You were right about everything. I was terrified, but seeing you stand up, it gave me the strength to leave too. This is for all the things you bought for Lily. The tablet, clothes, helping with rent. I know Greg never thanked you, but I am. Thank you for showing me what courage looked like. Olivia, I read it 3 times. Then unexpectedly, tears came. Not tears of sadness or pain, but of release. For the first time, someone connected to that family saw me, not the ATM, not the fall guy, but a person. People occasionally ask, do you have any regrets? My answer is always the same, no. My only regret is that I waited so long. I regret every anxious night, every skipped vacation, every penny pinched while they splurged and posted about family blessings on ConnectSphere. I regret diminishing myself so they could feel important. I regret every time I swallowed my objections when I should have declared, this is unacceptable. But regretting standing up for myself, setting boundaries? Never. My counselor once asked me, what took you so long to finally say no? I admitted, I thought saying no meant I didn't love them. She nodded gently and replied, saying no is actually how you teach people how to love you respectfully. That stuck with me. A few days ago, I bumped into someone from Lincoln High. She said, hey Alex, I heard about the situation with your family. That's intense. I braced for judgment, but she just smiled and added, good for you, man. Most people stay stuck. I thanked her and walked away, feeling inexplicably taller. Chloe and Greg are still dealing with the legal mess. Last I heard, Greg was officially terminated from his job. Chloe's finances are still restricted. Mom is struggling to refinance the house, and Dad is apparently blaming negative outside forces for destroying the family. They still don't understand. I didn't destroy anything. I just stopped propping up something that was already broken. Sometimes flashes of that night return. The dinner table. Chloe's dismissive laugh as I stared at my empty account. Greg's smug grin. Mom's casual wave off. You don't really need all that money, she'd said. And now they understand the truth. That money represented my security, my time, my well-being, my boundaries. They trampled those boundaries for years like they were meaningless. Now they're facing the consequences. I don't take pleasure in their struggles, but I do celebrate my own survival. For walking away, for staying away, even when the silence felt vast, even when old guilt tried to whisper doubts. Because this silence, this is freedom. So, if you're reading this and you're the strong one, the dependable one, the good son or daughter perpetually expected to give without complaint, let me share what I wish someone had told me years ago. You don't have to burn yourself down to keep others warm. It's okay to stop. It's okay to walk away. And when you finally do, you don't lose your family. You rediscover yourself.